Would you believe a stranger could barge into your life and unravel everything you've built in a single moment? The sun hung low over the Montana mountains, casting a golden haze across our secluded cabin, when Karen's voice sliced through the tranquility like a siren. She stood at our doorstep, clipboard in hand, her eyes gleaming with self-righteous authority. "This property's in violation of county codes," she declared, pushing past me without invitation. Her boots thudded on the pine floor, each step an accusation. My wife, Emily, stood frozen by the kitchen counter, her hands trembling around a mug of coffee. Karen's presence wasn't just an intrusion, it was an invasion, a storm tearing through our quiet refuge. She poked at our walls, scribbled notes, and muttered about permits we'd never heard of. I felt my pulse hammer, anger rising. This was our home, our sanctuary after years of city chaos. Who was she to judge us? But Karen wasn't just a nosy neighbor or a petty official. She was part of something bigger, a web we hadn't seen coming. Emily's eyes met mine, a silent plea to stay calm. I didn't know then that Karen's arrival was no accident. She'd been sent, by whom, we'd soon learn, to dig up dirt on us. We'd moved here to escape, to rebuild after a corporate scandal had nearly destroyed us. I'd been a whistleblower, exposing fraud at a pharmaceutical giant, and we'd paid the price. Lawsuits, threats, a life upended. We thought the cabin was our fresh start, but Karen's clipboard was a weapon, her questions laced with intent. "Where'd you get the funds for this place?" she sneered, eyeing our modest furnishings like they had secrets. I clenched my fists, ready to snap, when Emily's voice cut through, calm but sharp. "You're not the only one with questions, Karen." The air shifted. Emily reached into a drawer, pulling out a folded document. Karen's smirk faltered as Emily handed it over. A federal warrant, crisp and official, bearing Karen's name. The color drained from her face. She'd come to intimidate, but now she was the one cornered. The warrant wasn't for us, it was for her. Emily, my quiet, unassuming wife, had been working with the feds for months, piecing together evidence. Karen wasn't just a county inspector. She was a fixer, hired by the same corporate vipers we'd escaped, sent to harass us into leaving. But there was a twist. Karen wasn't the mastermind. She was a pawn, manipulated by a man we'd trusted, our old neighbor Tom, who'd sold us this land. Tom, with his warm smiles and homemade pies, had been feeding information to our enemies, desperate to cover his own debts. The betrayal stung deeper than Karen's intrusion, a knife twisting in our hearts. The confrontation erupted in the fading light. Karen stammered, clutching her clipboard like a shield, but Emily pressed forward, her voice steady as she read the warrant's charges: fraud, conspiracy, obstruction. Karen's bravado crumbled. She backed toward the door, her eyes darting like a trapped animal's. I stepped closer, not to threaten, but to demand answers. "Who sent you?" I asked, my voice low. She shook her head, lips trembling, but the truth was already spilling out. Tom had orchestrated it, feeding her lies about our illegal cabin to push us out. The feds had been watching him, and Emily, ever the strategist, had played along, gathering proof while I fumed in the dark. Karen's mission was meant to break us, but instead, it exposed the rot we'd left behind. Karen's world collapsed in that moment. She fled, her car kicking up dust as she vanished down the mountain. Tom was arrested days later, his scheme unraveling under federal scrutiny. Our cabin, once a target, became our fortress again. But the victory wasn't sweet, it was heavy. We'd fought for peace, only to find betrayal in the faces we'd trusted. Yet Emily's hand in mine, warm and steady, reminded me why we'd endured. We weren't just survivors, we were builders of something new. The mountains stood silent, witnesses to our resilience. We'd faced the storm, Karen, Tom, the ghosts of our past, and emerged stronger. This cabin, this life, was ours, earned through grit and love. And no one, no matter how loud they stormed in, could take that away.